it going, my truant people? Dr. Slacking, the Slacking Doctor, back on Pokemon Showdown for week 2 of the ABC, I think it is, the Associated Battle Community. That's the league which I co-commissioned with my man Nico, aka Pokemon Trainer Hakeem. And this week we're going up against Captain Sebasaur, I believe his name is CPT Sebasaur, coach of the Brampton Baeleafs. And we are, of course, the Bowland Bovines this season. This is only, I'm sure this is week 2. I'm going to apologise in advance, guys. There's a few things going to be affecting my commentary today, and I might start off with a little rant, depending on how I feel. But first things first, this game was played about 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. So it's not exactly fresh. For those of you that have been keeping up with the other things on the channel, you might have heard me mention already that I went home for a fortnight, and so I haven't been able to record any content during that time. So I'm catching up a little bit on content. I'm actually going to just crank the music on my headphones while I speak because it's a little bit quiet. There we go. And then after that, no, that's it. So basically I'm just recording the content now, just catching up on that. Also, I gotta apologize if I'm like blinking funny or looking funny or my face looks a bit weird. I hit my face today on my car coming out of Asda literally about an hour ago, and I don't know if you guys can see, but my eye here is just starting to like droop down and swell up, and I know it's just going to form into a bit of a black eye tomorrow. It's going to be a bit purple. I am going to rant. I am going to rant because I'm irritated about it. I can't even mention it without getting irritated. I went to Asda, parked up in the car park, perfectly fine. If you guys want to skip ahead the battle, do that because I'm just ranting at this point. Parked up perfectly fine. Go do my shopping, come out. It's late at night. The car park's pretty much empty. There's 2 spaces either side of me. It's all fine. As I'm walking to my car, some guy pulls into the space next to me. He's got the whole car park to choose from, and I'm not even especially close to the door. But he pulls in right in the space next to me, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. I'm parked in the center of my space, so I put my shopping... Well, actually, I don't. I take my shopping round with me. I don't bother using my boot. I just check out the passenger seat when I get in. So I took my shopping round with me to get in the car, and basically, he had gone way over the line. Way over the line, right? Way over the line. Was in my space and was just sat in his car, and I was on the phone with a shopping bag, and I was like, how am I going to do this? Tried opening my door without knocking his car, because I don't want to hit his car, even if he is rudely parked in my space. I don't want to scratch my own car by knocking it. So I had to, like, climb in on the phone, like, squeezing, and he just sat and watched me, and I whacked my eye really hard on the corner of the door frame, which is why I'm going to have a black eye in the morning. So that's my story, and the moral of it is, if you see someone struggling, don't be that guy. Don't be the guy that just sits there. And there's that. So if I come across Salty in any of these recordings in which I'm wearing this clothing, this fleece and stuff, which has got apple on it, I don't even know, but which has got stuff on it. If I come across Salty in any of these recordings, it's because I am salty. I am irritated. I am very irritated. But this battle is a great one, and Sebasaur is one of the nicest guys in the community. The few times I've spoken to him, I feel like I say that about everybody, but we're just blessed to have this fantastic community around. So very, very lucky. But this was a really, really great battle, and I've realized that I have forgotten to bring up his team. I haven't loaded up his team, so I will be back in just a second, guys, with his team. Hopefully I actually remember to make this cut, because I'm going to keep talking, because sometimes I just forget to make cuts, and then, you know, you just have to look at me silently trying to find things. I mean, I'm probably going to spoil things now if I haven't made a cut, but I really hope I made a cut here. This music's lovely. I don't even know if you guys can hear the music. I really need to check that, whether you guys can actually hear the music. I mean, I spoiled somebody else's stuff, but not mine. Okay, here we go. I should remember to cut this. I'll probably remember to cut this. Who knows? I'm professional like that. Fortunately, I am nowhere near the point where I need to worry about professionalism on YouTube. We can just have fun. I say we, there might be no one listening. Who knows? Okay, good. Are we recording? Is there the music playing? Music isn't playing. Alright guys, and I'm back, and hopefully I made a cut there, because I forgot to get this team up, and I realised that I forgot to check to make sure you could hear the background music, and then when I checked it, you couldn't hear the background music, so hopefully you guys can hear the background music now, and I do apologise for lack of music, and my rant, and the fact that I had to make a cut. If I even remembered to cut, this is me. I probably didn't remember the cut. You guys probably just watched me do all that, but never mind. Anyway, I now have his team. So Sebasaur has Magearna. Holy Christ, Magearna is a scary Pokemon. Tornadus T, Victini, Mega Gyarados, Mienshao, Ditto, Sandslash, Regirock, Vikavolt, Trevenant, Roselia. So you can kind of hear there, his draft is very top heavy. Magearna, Tornadus T, Victini, Mega Gyarados, Mienshao. Wow. Wow, that is a scary, like, 5 Pokemon Ditto also has its use. Sandslash, I don't rate, particularly if I'm honest. Regirock has its matchups, but it's not the best. Vikavolt can be awesome if used by a player that can pull it off, but there's few and far between, and it needs to be situational, and it's really, really hard. And Sebasaur is a player that can pull it off, but again, he has to have the right matchup for it. Trevenant has its moments. Roselia, it's not great. It's really not great. So his draft is very top heavy. You kind of prep for those first 6, and then you're probably alright. You don't need to super prep for Regirock most of the time in an OU draft league. So with that in mind, I'm going to talk through particularly what I was fearing: Magearna, Tornadus T, Victini, and Mega Gyarados, along with that Mienshao and the Ditto. They were the kind of 6. One of those I figured would have to drop for Sandslash, so we could have Rapid Spin plus Rocks, because if he didn't bring that, he'd have to have Defog Tornadus, and you don't want Defog Tornadus, you want U-Turn, Knockoff, or Hurricane, Sludge Wave, potentially you want AV on it as well, which means you can't have Defog. I don't remember what the coverage gets. Heat Wave, I think. But basically, you want Tornadus to do more than just Defog. So we expect Sandslash to probably come. Shout out to my front office for helping me prep with this one. I had quite a lot of help and prep with this one. We did a lot of mocks and stuff. I remember, or if I remember correctly, Ben spent ages in call with me going over the team and stuff. So it was really, really nice. We built this one together, and it was a super cool team. So without wasting more time, let's start off with Checkmate, our Scolipede. Shout out to Ben. This set had enough speed at +1 to outspeed the Tornadus, obviously, Scarf Magearna, obviously, but also its base speed. I believe this would be outspeeding a Victini, a base 100 speed Pokemon, because we do have to run a Jolly Nature. I think you need like 15 speed points to outrun. I think we need to be like 115 speed to be able to run Adamant, I think, and yeah, so that's why I think we've got that speed. The rest, obviously, an attack with a Jolly Nature to make sure we outrun that Victini, I'm assuming. And base, the rest goes into HP. So we actually get quite a bulky Scolipede set this week, which is awesome. And it is worth mentioning as well that we did try building a Scolipede set that didn't outspeed Victini. We tried running like an Adamant set with this Protect so that we could just Protect on Victini. My big problem with that was that Victini always expected me to outspeed it unless it was Scarf. So I would Protect on it, and if it stayed in, it was probably Scarf, and then I didn't outspeed it anyway, so it really didn't work out, because if I Protected and it switched out into something that could take the hit, then I just lost momentum. It never stayed in if it undersped anyway, so there was just no point. So we decided to just outrun the Victini. Protect is still there, though, if I want to get a boost so that I can outrun Scarf Victini. If I know it's confirmed Scarf, then I can get that Protect off. Mega Horn just for massive stab damage. This week we don't have a setup move. Shout out to Andrew, actually, who in week 1 suggested running X-Scissor over Mega Horn for accuracy with Swords Dance, which I think was an excellent point. And on some weeks I almost definitely will do that. But this week, because it isn't a setup set, we just need that extra damage, especially as we're not Adamant. EQ, just to hit things like the Magearna that otherwise can completely wall this set, the Victini so that we can try and take out that set, and Spikes is there to wear things like the Magearna down. Now Magearna, really, this is going to sound odd, but Magearna was kind of a focal point for me this match. Sometimes steel types can be kind of abused, and so we were trying to do that because Magearna doesn't get good recovery, and I didn't want to give it a chance to set up. What I wanted to do instead is force it into a defensive role. I wanted to make it switch in on things like Scolipede, like some of the other things we've got coming up, because if it had to switch in on those things, then it had to take chip damage, and it's not getting that back without leftovers, and it's not setting up in the process, so we're just going to try and wear it down that way. So Spikes is really, really nice for that. The Grandium Z is to absolutely smash a Magearna, or a Victini, whichever one becomes more essential, but probably the Magearna. So that was our Checkmate the Scolipede set. Then we have Aquarius the Hydreigon with the Roselli Berry. Now, I didn't want Roselli Berry, I wanted Rocky Helmet, because as you can see, this is max defense, max HP. The idea being that this Hydreigon is bulky as hell, 92 HP and 90 defense when you max out those EVs and use the defensive nature, actually is quite fat. It's actually respectable, especially considering that it gets reliable recovery and roost. And what this thing does all day, every day, is switch into Victini. It will just take Victini's damage and roost back up, and that's why I kind of wanted Rocky Helmet to get some chips so I could keep, get rocks up, get spikes up, make Victini come in and take Rocky Helmet, rocks, and spikes chip. That thing can't come in that often at that point. However, there was one Victini set which beat this when we had Rocky Helmet on it, and that was a Dazzling Gleam set. Victini does get access to Dazzling Gleam. If you brought a special Victini with that coverage, then I had next to no Victini checks. Victini just ran through my team in that way. So we had to run Roselli Berry with that Earth Power and Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse obviously better stab to hit the Victini, but Earth Power so that we could catch the so that we catch the Magearna. I don't think we were really going to live on with the Roselli Berry without having a special defense stager, but we might have took one if it was an unboosted Magearna and fired off an Earth Power. U-turn to give us a slow pivot, because slow pivots into things like Scolipede is really nice. And as we say, Roost just for longevity in there. Next up we have Barbaracle, which I forgot to nickname Gutted, but we'll put it in now. So this is Facepalm. It's his debut, so he needs to have his name there. Facepalm the Barbaracle making his debut. This was a sweeper set. It was a very difficult set to pull off against Sebasaur because of that Ditto. I had to play this very carefully. The good news is my next Pokemon kind of walled my own Barbaracle to some extent. But it was an important set still. Potentially, this thing just ran through his team if the Ditto was gone. Late game, it just came in and cleaned up. But I needed to get pressure on that Ditto, which was difficult because Ditto isn't a thing that you can drag out easily. It's not something like Magearna where I can try and force it out by spamming Dark Pulse or spamming Megahorn or spamming Poison Jab or something like that. I can't do that to a Ditto. It's a very difficult Pokemon to lure, I think. Well, in my opinion, it's a difficult Pokemon to lure. But what we have here is we have the Liquidation, Earthquake, and Low Kick. None of these, crucially, I'm going to move on slightly, but we're going to come back. None of these beat Strumpful or Amoonguss, which is really, really important because we needed to make sure that if this thing got set up, I still had a check, and Amoonguss did that. So we could come in, click Giga Drain, and with the defense drops, we would completely smash this thing. The Focus Sash is there to make sure that we can get those boosts up, but also as a kind of defensive check, because I don't, with all due respect, I don't really respect his hazard setters in Sandslash and Roselia. I felt like I could abuse that, and I could run Focus Sash this week without my Sash getting broken, and I could just maybe say like Magearna gets set up. Well, that's okay, because I'm going to hit it with a massive Tough Claws boosted Liquidation, or I'm going to Shell Smash on it and then hit it with a Liquidation, or, you know, that kind of thing as another deterrent to his sweepers in Mega Gyarados, and, not deterrent, but the check to his setup sweepers in Mega Gyarados and Magearna. Earthquake on there for the... probably the Magearna, because I'm not sure that Liquidation guaranteed an OHKO on all Magearna sets, so I'm guessing Earthquake does that, although Liquidation is Stab and Tough Claws boosted. So let me just look back at his team for a second. I can only assume that's what the Earthquake was for. We must have ran the calcs, and Earthquake must have just been better for that. And then Low Kick for that Mega Gyarados, which is really, really nice. Low Kick is going to chunk down Mega Gyarados because, again, it is going to be Tough Claws boosted, I believe. It's contact move. It's super effective, and Mega Gyarados is pretty heavy. We do have the problem of 50-50s in this league because you don't have to Mega Evolve first turn, so if I go for a Low Kick into a regular Gyarados, he is actually going to resist. But he's going to think we're more likely to have the Stone Edge, and so he's going to want to Mega Evolve on a Barbaracle. He's not going to want to stay not Mega and take a stab Stone Edge. So that's really why we're running that Low Kick, because we felt fairly safe knowing he was going to Mega Evolve if Barbaracle came in. This spread would probably outspeed, I don't know Magearna's base speed, but I'm going to hazard a guess that this is to outspeed a does Celesteela get Autotomize or Rock Polish? One of the two, I think. No, Shift Gear. To outspeed a Shift Gear Magearna, I believe. That's my guess, but I don't know. Maybe to outspeed some Scarfers like Scarf Victini as well. Not quite sure on the speed there, but the rest obviously just an attack and HP. Next we have Strumpful. As I said, this thing was really important to keep healthy to wall my own Barbaracle, as weird as that sounds, because he has a Ditto. Really, really bulky set, but this was my favourite build of the week. Absolute favourite build of the week, because what this thing did was laughed in Magearna's face. The best thing that Magearna could do was Ice Beam me on most Magearna sets, and we figured he would have the Ice Beam. But it only did with this Spadef investment. It never 3-hit KO'd with that Black Sludge. So we could just switch in, take some Ice Beams, or even better, if I could get this thing in on something like the Mienshao, for example, which we resist its Fighting Stab, and then I fire off a Sludge Bomb, and he goes into Magearna, then I click Stomping Tantrum, and I 2-hit KO Magearna if I get a boosted Stomping Tantrum. Similarly, if I click Spore, and he goes into Magearna and he's running Safety Goggles, which was very, very possible. I did see that in one mark, I believe, because this thing was a fairly obvious Magearna check. Then again, Spore fails, and I get a boosted Stomping Tantrum, which does like 54% to a bulky Magearna, I think. So this was just an awesome set, awesome kind of mixed Amoonguss set, which I just adored. We didn't need any speed, so we were able to run it mixed. And just abused Giga Drain for my own Barbaracle. Sludge Bomb was the spammable move because it brought in Magearna and got me a huge amount of damage on Magearna, and then that thing just wasn't a threat anymore. Because as I said, his draft is so top heavy. If you check Tornadus, if you check Magearna and you check Mega Gyarados, you're halfway there. There's only really Mienshao left. So, although those Pokemon are very hard to check, this set was just so cool. I loved it. I think you guys kind of get the idea. But yeah, that was how it was supposed to work. Also, Spore is just very, very spammable move. Obviously, Sleep Clause is a thing, so we can only put one thing to sleep. But one thing is enough to make a difference in a game. So that's a really, really big fan of this set. Huge fan of this set. Next up, we have our Wakamberry and Polion. This thing was supposed to take a Thunderbolt from Magearna and roar it out. Absolute worst case scenario. If Magearna starts getting set up with Shift Gears and Soul Heart boosts, then okay, we're just going to roar you out. We have the Wakamberry. Your best move is to click Thunderbolt against me. It's pretty readable. And then we just roar you out, get rid of your boost, reset, go again. We'll try and break him again. Very, very simple set, this one. I believe with this Bidef investment, we took like a +2 or +3 Thunderbolt from full, because Empoleon is bulky as hell. 101 and 84 is enough to really tank a non-stab move with the Wakamberry. So really, really nice Nico set here. Scold is very spammable against this team. Tornadus T, if we can get a burn on that, suddenly its knockoffs don't do as much, its U-turns don't do as much, Mienshao can't switch in, it doesn't want to get burnt, and Mienshao is his best possible kind of way of hitting me. Victini doesn't want to take a Scold for obvious reasons, just because it's super effective is what I mean by that. That was obvious, so I don't know why I then had to clarify. And just very, very spammable. Roar, as I said, was the backup plan. Stealth Rock on there to get Rocks up, and getting Rocks up was really important in my strategy of trying to bring Magearna out and pressure it, so that it wasn't a threat. Torrent obviously is the ability this week because there's no point having to fight when you're using physical attack, and it might boost that Scold if we get put in Torrent range, and Defog just in case he brought Roselia and decided to Hazard Stack me. I do have a Grounded Poisons type, so it wouldn't be the end of the world because he wouldn't be able to get T-Spikes, only normal spikes, but just in case we brought Defog, there's no reason not to. Now, this team we had in the mocks, and I lost repeatedly until I got this last Pokemon in. I had other Pokemon in this 6th spot, and the reason that I lost is because Tornadus just came in and clicked Knockoff and or Hurricane and won. It was a nightmare because I didn't want to lose my Black Sludge, I didn't want to take a Hurricane. I didn't want to lose my Wakamberry, I didn't want to take a Hurricane. I mean, I could take a Hurricane, but I couldn't do that much. You could just regen off the Scold. I didn't want to lose my Focus Sash. I didn't want to lose my Roselia Berry or Leftovers or Rocky Helmet, whatever variation I was running. Didn't really want to take a Hurricane either. Definitely don't want to take a Hurricane. So really we just kept losing to Tornadus in prep, and that's when we came up with this Togekiss set. Super cool, and the other issue that I was having was Taunt Tornadus T. That was the 4th move. It was U-turn, Hurricane, knockoff, Taunt, was just doing bits against me. So we brought Mental Herb Togekiss. Mental Herb Togekiss was niche, but it was cool because we switched into a knockoff, which I also forgot the nickname on this thing. Jesus, what was its nickname? I'm going to have to go back to my own draft analysis. I know I named it after the Stealth Plains that it's kind of modeled on, but I can't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. This Togekiss set was switching in to Tornadus. If he taunted me, fine, I've got Mental Herb. If he knocked me off, fine, I don't really need it. It's not leftovers or anything to get me recovery. My EV spread is very specific anyway, and it's very specific because it is just max Bidef. We are going to take Hurricanes for days. If you want to spam Hurricane, that's fine. I still just switch into Togekiss every time. So I really, really love this Togekiss set, and the idea was that we came in on the Tornadus and we clicked T-Wave. He would probably feel kind of safe against me with Tornadus, so would probably stay in. We clicked T-Wave, and at that point, Tornadus done. I do not care about you anymore, Tornadus, because you can't fast taunt me. You can't fast Hurricane me. I can start to deal with you. And secondly, once we got that T-Wave off, we always outsped and got to Roost. I mean, maybe Scarf Tornadus could have outsped us, but on a regular Tornadus set, we always outsped and could have Roost up on it after we had T-Waved it. So I came in, clicked T-Wave, and then started roosting up. Hurricane wasn't a 3-hit KO, I don't think, although I wouldn't swear to that. Fire Blast is there for the Magearna, of course, and Air Slash is there because once you Thunder Wave things, you want to start Air Slashing them with Togekiss. You want to play for that Serene Grace, 60% flinch chance, and just wear things down. Yes, it's annoying as an opponent, but it is a valid play. I've played against it. I don't like it, but I don't complain either. It's just how it is, and I'm excited to use it. So that's the team. Really, really fun build. In particular, these two are my favorites on this build by a mile. I just think they're such like lovely sets that you only get in Draft League, where they are just to counter very specific things in a very specific way, and that's what I love about Draft League building. As I say, shout out to Checkmate Ben for helping me build, and my front office for mocking with me. Stromful tore me a new one with Sub, a Dazzling Gleam, Victini. I didn't even tell him that I was bringing Physical Defensive Hydreigon. He just brought Sub, Dazzling Gleam, Victini because that is the kind of guy Stromful is. But moving on, we will see how this team worked out in the battle, guys. And I'm going to do my best to not complain about my face because I don't know if I'm blinking funny, but it really hurts. It really, really hurts. Anyway, guys, I will see you in the battle.